If you're planning on surviving the deep desert, you'll need more than just grit, you'll need the right gear. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the best early schematics you can pick up, whether you prefer long range rifles, up close melee, or PvP ready tools, from shield piercing snipers to parry focused swords. Here's what you need to look for and where to get it. So let's begin. So first off, our journey begins in Hagga Basin. Before we even set foot into the deep desert, let's go pick up what I believe to be one of the best sniper rifles available in the game. The weapon of choice we're going to be looking at today is the Long Shot Sniper Rifle. This is a tier 4 aluminum crafted sniper that utilizes a unique dart system that injects poison on each shot. This sniper rifle is going to be ideal for anyone who likes that long range engagement, who doesn't want to be concerned about enemy shields, as the poison will pierce their shielding and deal some pretty solid poison damage even while they're protected. Now there's 4 locations on the map where the schematic can actually drop. One in the Southern Comms, another in the Passage of Artemis, the third located in Aegis, and the last located in the Beast Claw. A few of these locations are considered PvP zones, so this means that the loot could be taken in theory, and obviously, most importantly, you run the risk of possibly being attacked. Regardless, just make sure to make your way into these locations and check each of these individual locations out and pick it up. It's a pretty amazing sniper. The weapon features a clip size of 2, which is a little bit unfortunate, and a respectable reload time of 2, but once again, while not necessarily the highest tier weapon, this is a great option for those who like to engage from a very long range and still be able to do reliable damage, even if enemies are shielded. Now for my players who are looking for a little bit more up close and personal engagement, then the next weapon on this list, the Adept Burst Drillshot, is going to be more of your speed. This weapon features a charged burst of drills that essentially drill through enemy shields, delivering pretty high damage if connected. You get 2 charges worth of attacks, and again it deals really solid damage. The drawback to it is a very weird firing pattern. What you want to do with this weapon is aim kind of center of mass, maybe towards the upper chest, as the secondary shot will actually pull your crosshair up and in many cases land on the enemy head. It's a little weird, but it actually works pretty well if you get this down. Keep in mind, this is a shotgun, so your engagement range is likely to be medium to close. From longer distances, you'll see a noticeable drop off in damage, but nonetheless, if you're capable of landing your shots, you'll deal significant damage to enemy shields, and while not necessarily designed for it, it still delivers a decent punch to non-shielded enemy. With that in mind, let's talk about where to get this. This will take you to the edge of Arceron. Like the previous unique weapons, this is located within a PvP zone, and this is literally only location on the entire map that has the possibility of dropping this schematic. One trick I like to use is jumping from server to server within your siege to increase my chances of getting this weapon. Keep in mind, because this is located in the Shoal region, you can actually enter Hagga Basin from the west side. You'll be very close to the location each time. Quickly go in, pick up the item. This is a tier 5 weapon, and this is going to be the first on the list that is tier 5, so this is going to require duraluminum to craft it, but for the ability to pierce shields, it's definitely worth the craft and is objectively one of the best weapons I found thus far in this game. Next, for our first melee weapon on this list and our first deep desert weapon, we're going to be looking at one of the best swords option available, called the Jolt-sword. Now I'm sure a few of you are already familiar with this weapon. If you completed the Swordmaster quest line, then you have been awarded the sword at the very end of the quest. If you haven't completed it yet, here on Fervor Gaming, we already put together a complete video that goes over it step by step so you can quickly finish this. Make sure you check that out if you haven't gotten to it, so you can get your free first Jolt-sword. Nonetheless, if you want more copies or simply want to repair it, there's a few ways to get additional ones. For a quick breakdown of how this weapon works, whenever you parry, you generate a small stamina boost, which make it easier to stay in combat much longer. I use this weapon extensively in the deep desert PvP scene because it has really good cleave radius whenever you parry, and you just keep up in the fight much longer, your stamina go further. I really think it's one of the best PvP and PvP weapons for most situations, so yeah, really great weapon. Now, fortunately, unlike many weapons on this list, both drop locations, both in testing station 186 in sector A8 and in 217 in A9, and they both have the potential to drop this schematic. And keep in mind, this is a PvE only zone, so you don't have to compete with players to get it, just pure RNG. Again, it's a pretty simple craft, a great weapon, and definitely something you want to consider using if you're into melee builds. Now, keeping with the theme of piercing shielded enemies, the next weapon we're looking at is the Adept Disruptor pistol. This pistol fires a heavy blast that causes massive disruption damage to enemy shields, setting up to deliver some solid damage with your weapons of choice once their shield is down. I'll be the first to say I find this weapon to be one of the best PvP options for the deep desert, as everyone tends to lean heavily into melee. If you can lock them down then shoot them, you can get some pretty insane shots off and take down their shields in no time. Unlike most weapons on this list though, this one is found in 3 locations locations in the deep desert, so you actually have a decent chance of getting it. I almost always get one every time I do a full sweep, but the Adept Disruptor pistol can be found in Sector A3 within the wreck of Archimedes, in Sector A7 in the wreck of Proxenus, and in Sector A9 in the wreck of Stasnor. At this point, you've probably done this song and dance many times. You're going to go through each of these wrecks, be careful and make sure to pick up the schematics. It's going to be insane for taking down enemy shields, and again, this is my core go-to for range engagements in PvP in the deep desert. Next, for our second and final melee weapon, we're going to be talking about what I believe to be the best melee weapon available before hitting tier 6, and the weapon is called the Kharet Viper. This weapon is one of the few that not only has a rapid attack and repair tied behind it, making it extremely hard for enemies to counter, but it also has a unique venom injection feature that applies poison on hit. This makes the Kharet Viper one of the best options available for tackling nearly every enemy type, as piercing shields with poison will eventually whittle them down, and when facing players you have a huge upper hand because you have really quick pokes in the heat of battle and it's really hard for them to deal with. Unfortunately, there are only 2 locations where this can spawn in the deep desert. They are both tied to PvP shipwrecks, so this one is going to be a little bit harder to get, but it's well worth the investment in my opinion. Within the wreckage of Hictas, you have a chance to get this amazing weapon. If not there, the wreck of Xenophon gives you the other opportunity. While this location is definitely riskier than the others we visit thus far, the 2 wrecks are relatively easy to get through and you should be able to score the Viper in no time. Now for our final weapon, I didn't want to forget about my battle rifle enthusiast, so we're going to be talking about the Scrubber. The Scrubber is a heavy dart semi-auto rifle that delivers explosive round and has a pretty sizable magazine of 45. This weapon, in my opinion, is one of the best to pair with the Adept Disruptor pistol we mentioned earlier. You'll drop shields and then you can easily follow up by swapping to the Scrubber and finish enemies off. This is my core go-to in the PvE situations. Now while a lot of players don't necessarily like battle rifles, I think they serve a solid purpose, especially when you can get fire from a distance and not necessarily be harassed. With so many players playing melee, you tend to be with teammates that can kind of man fight for you and can kind of stand in the front line, and you should be able to find a way to position yourself to really take advantage of that. Very similar to where you found the Jolt-sword testing station 186 in Sector A8 and in 217 in Sector A9, both also contain the possibility of getting this rifle, so while you're farming one of the best melee weapons, you also have the chance to farm a solid rifle. And there you have it, guys. Those are a handful of amazing weapons that I think are going to be the best, not only for PvE content, but also if we start pushing into the deep desert and looking for tier 5 weapons and schematics, you'll be able to contend with the mini sweats out there, and trust me, there's plenty. With that said, if you did enjoy the content or it helped you out in any way, make sure you are subscribed here to Fervor Gaming. We'll be covering Dune Awakening and pretty much every major survival game releasing this year in depth, so make sure you don't miss out on that. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one very soon.